I've been using the Chime platform for over 3 years, and over that time, I've used hundreds of other financial tools and have become a self-proclaimed expert on what makes a good financial app. But through all of that, Chime has consistently stayed at the top of my list. So today I want to share what I've learned about the Chime platform as a longtime user and give you a refreshed look at what Chime has to offer in 2024. First of all, I want to say a huge thank you to Chime for sponsoring today's video, and the fact that I even get to say those words is insane to me, because as you may know, I've been talking about Chime for years for completely free. So the fact that I now get to talk about this awesome platform and pay my mortgage is amazing. Seriously though, if you want to learn more about Chime, then check out the first link down below the like button. All right, let's get the basic features out of the way, and then we'll get into the good stuff. Chime's flagship product is their checking and optional savings account. The checking account has no monthly fees or minimum balance requirements, which is a must these days in my opinion. But in addition to no overdraft fees, they also have a feature called Spot Me, which allows you to overdraw up to $200 without charging a fee. Spot Me also applies to debit card purchases and cash withdrawals for eligible members. And if you do set up direct deposit, in addition to that Spot Me feature, you're also going to get your paycheck up to 2 days early, and you can even get your federal tax refund up to 5 days early. And you have access to over 60,000 fee-free ATMs at everyday locations like Walgreens, 7-Eleven, and CVS, just to name a few. Plus, the Chime Visa debit card not only allows you to make purchases internationally, since there are no foreign transaction fees, but also gives you Visa's zero liability protection. Of course, you can also withdraw cash at out-of-network ATMs, but as expected, there will be a fee from the ATM provider in that case. And if you're wondering where the nearest in-network fee-free ATM is to you, then it is super easy to find one using the ATM map right within the Chime app. On that note, if you're wondering how am I going to deposit cash without a physical location, Chime partners with over 85,000 retail locations where you are able to deposit up to $1,000 per day or $10,000 per month in cash directly into your Chime account. And again, these include everyday locations like Walmart, 7-Eleven, and tons of others. And some locations like Walgreens will allow you to deposit cash for free, while other locations will charge a small fee in some cases. Another thing I love is you can say goodbye to your third-party peer-to-peer transfer app because Chime lets you pay anyone fee-free directly from within the Chime app, and that applies whether that person has a Chime account themselves or not. All they need is a valid US debit card to claim their cash or pay you, and no more paying instant transfer fees because, once again, Chime has zero instant transfer fees since it's directly linked to your checking and savings account. This is also as good a time as any to remind you that all of the money in your Chime account is FDIC insured up to $250,000 through their partner banks, the Bancorp Bank and Stride Bank, which is the standard amount of FDIC insurance from any bank, whether that's a small town brick and mortar bank all the way to a large national bank. So just because Chime is a fully online financial technology company, remember that they are partnered with the Bancorp and Stride Bank. So your money is FDIC insured. All right, moving to the optional savings side of things, which you can enroll in after setting up your checking account. There's not too much to talk about here because, well, it's a savings account, but they do have some pretty unique features like their automatic roundups tool, which will round up any debit card purchases to the nearest whole dollar and automatically transfer the roundups from your Chime checking account to your savings account. And I know that isn't exactly a new concept, but think of this as the digital equivalent of digging through the couch cushions or finding spare change in your pocket. And as you may already know, that spare change can add up pretty quickly. They also have a feature called Save When I Get Paid, which can automatically transfer 10% of your direct deposited paycheck of $500 or more from your checking account into your savings account. Again, ensuring that you are paying yourself first and setting money aside for the future. And the fact that this is all automated is wonderful because study after study has shown that automated saving and investing is statistically more effective than doing those things yourself. You, of course, also have no monthly fees on the savings account and a respectable 2% APY that you'll earn on your savings, which admittedly is not the highest APY in the industry right now, but is still 4.7 times the national average. So if you're coming from one of those large national banks who usually pay you 0.01%, then trust me, 2% APY is gonna feel like free money. All right, the last thing we of course have to talk about quickly before we get into my overall thoughts on Chime is of course the incredibly unique Chime Credit Builder Secured Visa Credit Card. Now again, if you've been around my channel for a while, then you know that we've talked circles around this very unique product, so I'll leave a link to my full review down in the description below because it does take a bit to understand. But in a nutshell, the Credit Builder is a secured Visa credit card that helps build credit history with no annual fees or interest rates and no credit check in order to apply. You're basically going to add money to your Credit Builder card using funds from your Chime checking and savings accounts. And when you then use that Credit Builder card for everyday purchases, those funds are used to pay off the balance. And Chime then reports those payments to the 3 major credit bureaus, which can help improve your credit score. Again, if you're confused, this definitely requires its own video, so I'll link to that full review down below. But I absolutely love this product, and it is one of the best ways to either build your credit score from zero or rebuild damaged credit history. And despite the fact that it's been out for years at this point, none of the many competing products that have popped up on the market are doing this in quite the same way. So definitely check out this product if you want to build your credit score. All right, that's the core features of what Chime has to offer. So let's talk about what I've learned about this platform having used it for the past 3 years and who I think it is best for. I've talked about this concept in previous Chime videos, but by far the biggest differentiator, having used hundreds of other financial tools, is the simplicity of Chime, especially their mobile app. Now, this one is very much a personal preference, but having seen my wife and other family members use Chime, I can confidently say that it is one of the easiest financial platforms to learn. The menus are simple and clean, and you're not going to be overwhelmed by hundreds of features that you'll probably never use, as is the case with some other apps. And all of your core banking functions can be accessed from one easy-to-use app without having to bounce back and forth between different apps and logins. Now, is there a sacrifice that comes with that simplicity? Of course. If you're looking for every bell and whistle under the sun, and you want to have all of your investing and lending and credit cards all under the same app, then no, that is not what Chime is designed for. But if you're looking for a sleek and modern way to track your bank account on the go, earn some interest on your savings, and monitor and build your credit history, then you will be hard-pressed to find a better and easier-to-use option than Chime. It's crazy that when I started using this platform, it had maybe 100,000 reviews, and now across the iOS and Android app stores, it has well over 1 million reviews with millions of users at this point, so they're definitely doing something right. And Chime's learning and help centers are very helpful, for lack of a better term, and they break down everything you'd want to know, from how to effectively use the app to interesting articles and videos on how you can better your financial situation. Again, I want to say a huge thank you to Chime for sponsoring today's video, and if you want to learn more about how the Chime platform can simplify your finances, then again, that'll be the first link down below the like button. But until next time, take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one.